Hi friends, good evening. This is Dr. Harnath Reddy, Director Shankaran AI Study Circle. In the second video relating to All India Judicial Service, we will discuss about various commissions since independence which have dealt with the subject matter of All India Judicial Service. So in India since independence, there were a number of commissions which were appointed from time to time which have made their recommendations on All India Judicial Service. For example, if you take the first Law Commission of India, in its 14th report, it has recommended the establishment of All India Judicial Service for improving the efficiency of the subordinate judiciary. The first Law Commission of India, in its 14th report, has recommended for the establishment of All India Service for improving the efficiency of the subordinate judiciary. Then subsequently, even 8th Law Commission of India, also has recommended and favored the establishment of All India Judicial Service. Even subsequently, in the 116th report, Law Commission of India has dealt with the All India Judicial Service. So in this report, Law Commission of India has considered three general problems with respect to the establishment of All India Judicial Service. The first problem is there was an apprehension that the judicial officers who are recruited through an All India competitive examination for All India Judicial Service, if they are posted to a state where they don't know the language and custom of that particular state, that might undermine the efficiency of the working of All India Judicial Service officers. But this argument was disagreed by the Law Commission of India, saying that in India we have All India services in the form of Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service, Indian Forest Service. So the officers belonging to IAS, IPS and IFS, a vast majority of them, they are posted in the states where their mother tongue is not the language of the state. So in course of time, by training and when they are in service, they will get to know about the language of the state and also the customs of the state. So this objection shall not be a big reason for not establishing All India Judicial Service. And then the second general objection against All India Judicial Service is, I told that Article 233 deals with the recruitment of district judges. Then Article 235 deals with the recruitment of judicial officers other than the district judges. So the judicial officers who are recruited for the subordinate judiciary through promotion, they will become the district judges. But if some of the posts of the district judges are recruited directly through a competitive examination through All India Judicial Service, then the opportunities which are available for the people who are below the district judges to get promoted to the post of district judge will reduce. This will create heartburn in those judicial officers who are below the post of district judge. This is one more general objection which is raised against All India Judicial Service. But here again the Law Commission of India says around 50% of the posts of the district judges are reserved for the officers below the district judge. So there shall be no problem in recruiting the remaining vacancies or posts through an All India Judicial Service. So here there is some element of truth in creating heartburn for those who will not have an opportunity to get promoted for all the posts of the district judges because of establishment of All India Judicial Service. And then the second general objection against All India Judicial Service is, as of now, the recruitments to the subordinate judiciary are made either by the High Court on its own with respect to the district judge post, or on the recommendations of the High Court, the State Public Service Commission will recruit the judicial officers below the district judge. But here again, in both the cases, the recommendations made by the High Court, they are binding. But now, with the proposal for the establishment of All India Judicial Service, if these All India Judicial Officers are recruited through an All India institution, then to that extent, the High Court will be losing its patronage power, and to that extent the High Court will be losing its control over subordinate judiciary. There were even criticisms that this will affect the independence of judiciary at the state level, because if the recruitment of the district judges, if it is left to an institution which is outside the judiciary, then that will interfere with the independence of judiciary. And here again the Law Commission of India says, once recruited to the All India Judicial Service, they will become part of subordinate judiciary. So the High Court will continue to have control over the subordinate judiciary. But when it comes to the recruitment, definitely the High Court will lose its influence and patronage power which already had. Here there is some element of truth in the criticism. But the Law Commission of India in its 116th report has rejected all these three general objections to the establishment of All India Judicial Service and favored the establishment of All India Judicial Service. Then subsequently we have the first National Judicial Pay Commission. We have the first National Judicial Pay Commission. Even this National Judicial Pay Commission has recommended for the establishment of All India Judicial Service, and it also said that only the cadre of district judges, they shall form part of All India Judicial Service, which means the judicial officers below the level of the district judge shall not be recruited through an All India competitive examination. And it said that as per Article 312 Class 3, there shall be either National Judicial Commission or either UPST, there shall be either National Judicial Commission or either UPSC has to conduct recruitment to the posts of All India Judicial Service. It made a recommendation that in every state, 25% of the district posts shall be through direct recruitment through an All India competitive examination. It has also recommended that the lawyers who are in the age group of 35 to 40 years shall be recruited for the All India Judicial Service. But when it comes to the recommendations made by NCRWC, National Commission to Review the Working of the Indian Constitution, it was a 11-member commission. It was established under the chairmanship of M.N. Venkatachalaya. So this commission has made some important observations which are against the establishment of All India Judicial Service. So M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission in 2000, it said that Article 312 Class 3 itself is a problem for the creation of All India Judicial Service, because Article 312 Class 3 says through All India Judicial Service only the district judges had to be recruited. For example, if you recruit the law graduates in the age group of 24 to 30 years for the All India Judicial through All India Judicial Service for the post of district judge, soon after that training they will become the district judges. But the problem is the district judges, they deal with serious criminal cases like the cases of murder, dacoity, and the district judges will also have appellate jurisdiction with respect to civil and criminal cases, and even with respect to civil matters they have original jurisdiction. So the district judges will have to exercise vast powers, and the task needs some element of experience. But if the younger law graduates are recruited directly to the post of district judge, and if they are made the district judges soon after training, will they be able to handle such a huge responsibility is one more question which was raised by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. In addition to this, M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission also made an alternate proposal. For example, I told that the first National Judicial Pay Commission has recommended lawyers of the age group of 35 to 45 shall be appointed for the All India Judicial Service for the post of district judge. But here the problem is, by the time the law graduates are at the age of 35 to 45 years, they might be practicing the law, and because they are practicing the law, and as the pay, service conditions and career advancement is not so attractive in the subordinate judiciary, and once they get appointed to the subordinate judiciary as the district judges, they will be subjected to frequent transfers. So the best talent will not be interested in getting recruited to the post of district judge through the All India competitive examination, because as I told you, the existing pay, service conditions and career advancement is not so attractive, and if they get appointed, they don't know that they may be getting the cadre of a non-home state. That means they have to serve in the new states and they may not feel comfortable, and even if they join, they are subjected to frequent transfers that may create a trouble. So instead they may choose that it is more comfortable to continue with the practice. That will be the second apprehension which was raised by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. Then, in addition to this, if you make amendments to Article 312 Clause 3, what kind of amendments? As of now, this Article 312 Clause 3, which was inserted through the 42nd Amendment, it says that only the posts of the district judges will be recruited through All India Judicial Service. As I told you, they will not be able to take up the huge responsibilities as district judges. In addition to that, once they become the district judges, after having served for 10 to 15 years, they become eligible to become the judges of the High Court at a very tender age. So in the High Courts, again they will have a huge responsibility to perform. At such a tender age, will they be able to live up to the expectations of their responsibilities is one more doubt expressed by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission. So, in the alternative case, if Article 312 Clause 3 is amended, providing for recruiting the All India Judicial Service officers for the judicial positions below the district judge, then the role of the State Public Service Commission and the High Court in making recruitments to the subordinate judiciary will come to an end. Is this necessary in the era of the powers of the state governments getting restricted? You know that if you see the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution, Union government has got exclusive authority with respect to 98 items in the Union list. For all practical purposes, the concurrent list is called the second Union list or de facto Union list. And in 1976, through the 42nd Amendment, 5 items were moved from the state list to concurrent list. When all this is happening, in this context and background, is it necessary to entrust the powers to recruit the subordinate judiciary to a central agency? This will go in the direction of centralization, further undermining the role of the states and also the role of the high courts. This is one more fear expressed by M.N. Venkatachalaya Commission against the establishment of All India Judicial Service. And in addition to this, in the recent past, even Niti Aayog in its document Strategy for New India at the rate of 75 has also recommended for the establishment of All India Judicial Service. Despite the recommendations being made since independence for the establishment of All India Judicial Service, there were wide disagreements among the several high courts, and in addition, there is no consensus